Marcus Rashford talk continues to bulge as a respected Manchester United journalist has dropped a bombshell concerning this outcast at Manchester United. According to Andy Mitten, several, if not all, Manchester United managers in the past have had issues with Marcus Rashford and they have told him in confidence. Welcome to the United Road Sport, guys. My name is Webb, and here is an interesting conversation about a player who we definitely all want to see out of Man United. But I honestly do not like how it's beginning to unfold. I don't like how it's going. I mean, there are people who will go, doesn't matter how he lives. He's just got to live. He's earning 325,000 quid per week. So much money, top earner at the club. He should be leaving the club. He's not performing. I get it. He should be leaving. But listen, guys, this is an academy boy, and I hate how Manchester United is beginning to turn on their own. It's okay for a footballer to perform well, and after some time they drop off and they've got to move on. It is extremely okay. That's life. Things do not go easy all the time. Things do not go well all the time. But that doesn't mean that a player who 2 seasons ago was your top scorer, scoring 30 goals in one of our worst seasons in the history of the club, was warranted a new contract to earn that crazy amount of money until 2028. Now that things are not going on well, people are beginning to bring out all the bad things about him. Who is it helping? This does not help Marcus Rashford because it's going to kill his career. The boy is 27. It does not help Man United in their quest to find a buyer for him, because if one of your loyal journalists comes out and says, this guy is a writer, Andy Mitten is a writer for The Athletic, credible guy, he was an editor for 442, he's a big journalist, and he's always covered Man United. He attends Man United player association dues and stuff, so he's inside, he's got contacts within Man United, he's a strong source. For him to come out now and say it with all this passion on TalkSport that Marcus Rashford has had issues with all the past managers of post Alex Ferguson. They have told him in confidence, and whether it's true or not, I don't think it helps anyone. Why is he saying it now? What is the aim? What's the purpose? For me, it clearly looks now that it's a collective effort by the club. It's orchestrated by the club. They want to frustrate the boy and push him out, which is okay at the end justifies the means, they say. We just want to see Marcus Rashford out, but who is going to take him if we are just depicting him as the worst thing to ever happen to football? Who is going to give us even 40 million quid? Because Man United, it will be Man United's loss if Marcus Rashford leaves on for free, if they just have to terminate his contract the way it was with Cristiano Ronaldo. It will be a loss for Man United because Man United is broke. They need money. Some of the things, but also humanly, I don't think this is who we've gone out to become. We turned our backs on an academy boy, Mason Greenwood, just a few months ago, just under a year ago. We turned our backs badly, like the devil himself, on Marcus Rashford. Even the devil protects its own. But we turned ourselves on Marcus Rashford, or rather on Mason Greenwood. He's trying to pick himself up, first in Spain, now in France. We are doing this. This was an academy kid. We are doing the same thing with Marcus Rashford, a boy who we are celebrating, for scoring so many goals and, trying to eulogize him as the best talent to come out of England. Just because he scored 30 goals a season. He was being postured as the new face of English football. His PR team working magic. Fans of Man United, everywhere you would go, the youngins would always keep trying to mimic Marcus Rashford and his celebration and walk like him, do stuff. This boy, I think, has had the biggest influence on Man United young supporters for the past, perhaps, decade. But now that things are not going on well, and we rightfully want him out of Man United, he should be out, don't get it twisted. People are beginning to just bring out all his dirty linen, and I'm thinking, who does it help? Who does it help? There's no need. I don't think there is need for any more justification of why Rashford should leave Man United. Even himself said he's ready for a new challenge. He knows there's no turning back for him and Man United. I think for me, the best thing now for all parties would be keep the dirty linen from within. And this boy is a United boy. It has gone on. It hasn't ended well for him. It's okay. That's life. But that does not mean he's public enemy number one. You see, the thing about Man United supporters is we keep shifting posts, and probably I'm also as guilty as I say it. because I'm also a Man United supporter. But I don't want, I hate it when people come off inhuman. It's one thing to be passionate about the game, to be passionate and, want your team to perform. And I want Rashford out like yesterday. I think I was one of the first people to say Rashford should be heading out of Man United long, long ago. But I do not think it's right for us to turn our backs completely against him just to destroy his career because it hasn't worked at Man United. I remember the first game of this year, Man United Tottenham, when I was at Old Trafford. Everyone was abusing Marcus Rashford because it had started at that time. Of course, his deep in form, his poor attitude was seen. He was not performing in games. Everyone around me, everyone at Old Trafford was calling out Rashford. 40th minute, I think third minute of the game, he sets up Rasmus Højlund for the first. Everyone is shouting, Rashford, Rashford. 40th minute, he scores the winner. That game, he was man of the match. I remember I was at the Stratford end behind where the players passed to leave the stadium, and every kid, every adult was waiting for Rashford to try and come to them, sign autographs. But of course, he failed himself. I have the video. I think if I fix my old phone, I'll get it. It's there in my phone. And people, he was just passing to go straight to the parking lot and drive away from Old Trafford. And I'm thinking, these are the same people who were abusing this boy. When he scored, he's now man of the match. They're all screaming his name. That's the atmosphere this boy is surviving in. 1 minute, they are celebrating him, has one bad game or two bad games. They are hating on him and attacking him. And, they forget about all the good things he's done. And that's who we are as Man United supporters or as football supporters, perhaps generally. But for me, if it has got to a point where people are now doing everything to try and justify what we already know by saying the very worst about him, whether true or not, to what end? What again? And then what? So Andy Mitten comes out and says that because he's a credible guy, he writes for the Athletic, comes out and makes such a statement about Marcus Rashford. Every club in the world is going to pick on it and take it. Who is going to spend their money on Marcus Rashford in Europe? But this is a 27-year-old kid who scored 30 goals in a season in England at the topmost level. We know his talent and potential. It hasn't worked out at Man United because clearly the atmosphere perhaps is what killed his mood, his character. Even you as a person, you'd I think lose the fire and the confidence to perform and shine in front of your own if your people turn against you at the very first time you face a challenge or things are not going well for you. So Rashford, understandably, should leave Man United, but doesn't mean he cannot play football anywhere. But for as long as we back and support this whole hate speech against him, how every manager, and we know it. I do understand. Managers like Erik ten Hag is one of the reasons why perhaps ten Hag was sacked. You can talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who said there are players who he felt, even Mourinho, there are players he felt should have left way back, and but they were still at Man United until now and stuff. We understand it. The player power probably was the orchestra of all the player power. Well, you get it, and it's wrong, it's bad, and that's why he's got to leave. But the thing is, if right now Rashford left for free, would it benefit Man United? It would probably benefit him because whichever club he would join in Saudi, he would the sign-on fee would be his. So I think for me, this whole hate speech that's beginning to pick up around Marcus Rashford, whereas he's got to leave Man United, there's no turning back. We don't have to make it any worse for him. It doesn't help anyone. I don't think we hate Rashford at the end of the day. This boy gave us good nights, celebrated so many goals. There are so many sections of Man United supporters up to now who still think Rashford should be in the squad for the Newcastle game tomorrow. I don't think so, but there are certain fans who feel he should be. There are certain fans who feel that perhaps if he were in the games we lost, we could have had a chance or won them or competed better. There are still people who believe in him. So at least the very least we can do is let him go, but without trying to create raise a certain level of hate against him, because you're talking a kid who is so richer than perhaps any active football manager now, that if we start bringing out all this dirty linen about him, no manager would want to take him under his arms. They will all say, how am I going to manage this spoiled rich kid who is 10 times richer than me? How will I manage him? Not here. So he will end up being pushed to Saudi Arabia, Is that what we'll celebrate? Shall we be happy about that if Rashford ends up in Saudi at 27 with the potential he's got? Or would we rather see Rashford shining at Newcastle or at a club in England, or even if it's out of England, at PSG, for example? I think for me, we just need to change. Let's not spread this whole hate speech around the boy. He has had his time. Things are not going on well. It's not the end of the world for him. Let him move on. But for as long as we keep bashing him like this publicly, trying to depict him as the worst thing it happened to football, as devil number one, it won't benefit anyone. Rashford will not get a club. We'll be stuck with him, having to pay big percentages of his wages, yet he's not playing for us. Which problems shall we have solved? Yet, if we keep quiet and perhaps hope that maybe in the remaining days before he's bought by any club, he's even turns out to be performing well so that clubs can see that there's still football in him, we can have a bargaining stand and we get some decent money out of him, which can help to try and perhaps sort the so many issues Man United has got, especially financially. So for me, that's a very important thing to talk about. My name is Webb. This is the United Sport. Like, share, and subscribe. That's the statement from Andy Mitten, saying every previous manager has had issues with Marcus Rashford. I've spoken to them. They have told me in confidence, going back years and years and years. I mean, the way he even exaggerated for so many years. It's like a lifetime. What exactly is this? Who is behind this whole campaign? I think it's beginning to make sense now that the club, it's not even Ruben Amorim. It's beginning to make sense for me clearly now that it's the club and Ineos who strategically want to frustrate the life out of Rashford so that he leaves without them paying. It doesn't even make sense at all. My name is Webb. Let me catch you later.